Anyway, so they've gone from this little like Apple computer in a garage company to like they're starting to make fucking millions. He's got his own house in what is it, Palo Alto or whatever the fuck you call that place, and he's living the life, but he's still like really angry at work. And he has recently hired this one guy named Scully, who's kind of like the operations manager of Apple, and like Warkutsky, who's like one of the guys who like originally did it, has bounced early on because he's like, yo, I'm a nerd and like I like computers as a hobby, and you guys are like trying to make it all businessy. And he's like, I still want my share because I would like money to survive on, but like fuck everything you're doing. And they're like, all right, yeah, you can share. Even though they told him, like, I don't know how that guy managed to do that, but he pretty much was like, hey man, none of this is my lane, I'm just gonna stay in mine, you guys just crash your cars into whatever, I'm just gonna take my money and go. And they were like, yeah man, see you later. Like, but I mean, like, it's totally like, he thought of the idea, he's like, because of him, he's like solely the real Apple person. It's just that Steve Jobs was the salesman, so he just pretty much kept trying to sell what the one guy pretty much just made, and it was just basically hiring people to like study what that guy made. So really, Warkowski, or however, I can't even say his name, maybe that's why he decided to not go. Maybe he knew the favors, like, I have a fucking ridiculously hard to pronounce name, I shouldn't go into this history of fame. Like, maybe that's how he felt, but I don't know. So anyway, back to the man at hand, Mr. Jobs. Mr. Jobs is like freaking, he's always in this turmoil because he like doesn't know who his real dad is, and he's like, who is my dad? Who is my mom? And he's still so sad about that, and it takes him a long time to figure out and like go try to meet him. And then every time he meets them, he's like mad disappointed. He is like, they're not my real parents. My real parents who raised me are my real parents. And it's like, dude, what are you even talking about? Like, he's so all over the place. Like, he just like, he totally like, he puts all this big pressure of like, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter, like, I'm adopted, it's not a big deal, like, I had a great family life. But then he's like, really wants to know his parents, then he gets to know his parents and he's just fucking disappointed. So it's like, I don't know why you went on that journey in the first place, because you clearly like already made up your mind to be mad. Like, I guess he was mad because like his family didn't fucking like show him, like, I think he thought he was like descendant of the gods or whatever, and then it turned out like his father was just like a regular man or whatever, like wasn't a super genius. He was kind of like, oh whatever, like, I don't need you. Like, clearly this is why I was adopted. I was far chosen beyond this path. He definitely had some egotistical issues. But anyway, so he invites this guy Scully, and they're BFFs, and Scully's running the company, but like Steve Jobs is like kind of a fucking asshole and like out of control, and like Scully kind of has to come down to the choice where pretty much he outs Steve Jobs from his own company. So like fucking, he starts Apple and then gets fired from the very thing he starts. Like, you have to be fucking a piece of shit to lose your creative shit. Like they're, and he had every like method for success. Like, even though he like met his family and was like going on his own like personal plight, which, to be honest, is a whole journey. Like, he essentially had everything working for him, and he pretty much just like, he just, because of he's like, he would like pick those fights with people, you know what I mean, and say it wasn't their idea and it was his idea, and he would just like throw temper tantrums if like the design looked like crap. Like, if the plastic wasn't like luminescent or glowing, he'd be like, this is fucking trash, and you just like trashed the room, and it was like awful. But eventually Scully and like everybody who had like shareholds in the Apple company were like, yo dude, we gotta stop this right now. Like, this guy's out of control. He's not doing business the American way, which is with no feelings. He's got way too many feelings for business, so we gotta cut him. So essentially they outsmart his own company. He's fucking humiliated, and everybody's like, oh no, like, what's gonna happen? Is Apple gonna be the same without Jobs? Because it is like due to a lot of his like salesmanship, but none of his computers were really working. Apple had kind of taken the forefront. So like the big thing about Apple computers and like the difference between Apple and Windows, right, is that Apple is pretty much like Apple controls everything in one hardware system. It's kind of difficult to explain. It took me a lot. I'm not a computer person, but Apple like all the devices linked to Apple, everything's connected. It's kind of, it eliminates a lot of, like, you can't get viruses on a lot of Mac computers. You don't have, like, yeah, so you don't have, like, this whole system that, like, Windows allows, if you were, like, a hacker, you're trying to invent computers, or you're trying to, like, see in certain types of, like, coding and experimental, Windows allows you to do that more because they're not regulated under one system. But Mac is, and thus it's, like, harder to get viruses and stuff, and it kind of shows Jobs' control over designing even, like, all the Apples and Macintoshes, is that he wanted endless clean designs. Like, if there was a floppy disk but there's really no need for floppy disk and everything should be able to be USB, he was like, fuck the floppy disk thing, like, we're getting rid of that and we're only doing USBs. He liked simple parts, like, nothing more than it needed. Which is great because it's like, the more simple the product is, the easier it is to use it. But it also hurts, like, if you're a hobbyist, or, like, you fucking want to play The Sims on a Macintosh and you have to have the floppy disk thing, you have to buy the other disk. So it's, like, also smart in a business measure because you're buying all this shit in order to fucking have, you know, like, be able to use an Apple, and the graphics are better, the design's better, but you're spending more money, essentially. But usually the product lasts longer, too, because if you're not doing the Windows thing, where there is a lot of room for viruses, like, Apple computers will last, like, 10 years, whereas usually, like, a PC is only, like, 3 or 4. It's freaking wild that, like, this is the price of control, essentially. So, anyway, Jobs and Scully, right? Here they are. They're pals, but Scully finds a thing. He's like, I'm trying to do business, and your computers haven't worked. You've been an asshole to the whole company. Like, dude, I'm gonna have to let you go. And Steve Jobs throws a fucking fit. He's like, it's my company. How could you? He cries. He was so sad. And then he is just fired, and that's just fucking it. And Scully owns the company. He's like, bye, Felicia. Fuck you, bitch. You're out. Like, you should have just done what I said. You should have, you know, not been a jerk. How hard is it to not be a jerk? And Steve Jobs is like, it's just too hard. 10 times, like, I have to be a jerk. If I'm not a jerk, the world won't be better. And it was kind of right. And it's weird. But, so he says, fuck all this. And he goes, and he fucking invents Pixar. Yeah, but you didn't know they were fucking together. Because I didn't, but they are. Steve Jobs fucking founded Pixar.